In this section, we will give you a brief overview of the specifications and features of both AMD RX 7900 XTX and Nvidia RTX 4090 graphics cards. These are the latest and most powerful GPUs from the two rival companies, and they are designed to deliver the ultimate performance for gaming and content creation at 4K resolution and beyond. Let's start with the AMD RX 7900 XTX. This card is based on the new RDNA 3 architecture with chiplet technology, which allows AMD to pack more cores and cache on a smaller die size. The RX 7900 XTX has 6,144 cores clocked at up to 2.5 GHz max, 2.3 GHz average game clock, 98 MB Infinity Cache, L3 cache, and 24 GB GDDR6 graphics memory with a 384-bit memory bus and 20 gigabits per second effective speed. It also has 96 ray accelerators for hardware ray tracing support, and it consumes up to 355 W of power. The card features a dual-slot design with a triple fan cooler and a metal backplate, and it requires two 8-pin power connectors. The display outputs include one HDMI 2.1a, two DisplayPort 2.1, and one USB Type-C port. Now let's move on to the Nvidia RTX 4090. This card is based on the new Ada Lovelace architecture, which is built on the 5nm process and offers a huge leap in performance, efficiency, and AI-powered graphics. The RTX 4090 has 16,384 CUDA cores clocked at up to 2.52 GHz boost, 24 GB GDDR6X memory with a 384-bit memory interface and 21 gigabits per second speed, and 512 tensor cores for DLSS 3 support. It also has 128 ray tracing cores for hardware ray tracing support, and it consumes up to 450 W of power. The card features a triple slot design with a triple fan cooler and a metal backplate, and it requires one 16-pin power connector. The display outputs include one HDMI 2.1, three DisplayPort 1.4a, and one USB Type-C port. As you can see, both cards are very impressive in terms of their specifications and features, but they also have some differences that may affect your choice depending on your preferences and budget. For example, the RTX 4090 has more cores, higher clock speeds, faster memory, and more tensor cores than the RX 7900 XTX, but it also costs more, $1,599 versus $999, consumes more power, 450 W versus 355 W, and requires a new power connector, 16-pin versus 8-pin. On the other hand, the RX 7900 XTX has more cache, 98 MB versus none, supports DisplayPort 2.1 versus DisplayPort 1.4a, and has a smaller die size, 529mm superscript 2 versus 608mm superscript 2 than the RTX 4090. In the next section, we will compare the performance of these two cards in various games and benchmarks to see how they stack up against each other in real-world scenarios. Now let's compare the performance and benchmarks of both cards in various games and applications, highlighting their strengths and weaknesses. We will use the data from User Benchmark and Technical City as our sources. According to User Benchmark, the RTX 4090 is based on NVIDIA's Ada Lovelace architecture. It features 16,384 cores with base/boost clocks of 2.2/2.5 GHz, 24 GB of memory, a 384-bit memory bus, 128 3rd-gen RT cores, 512 4th-gen tensor cores, DLSS 3, and a TDP of 450W. The RX 7900 XTX is based on AMD's RDNA 3 architecture. It features 12,288 cores with base/boost clocks of 2.4/2.8 GHz, 16 GB of memory, a 256-bit memory bus, ray tracing support, and a TDP of 375W. In terms of effective speed, the RTX 4090 is about 44% faster than the RX 7900 XTX on average. It has much better lighting effects, reflection handling, and in-body calculation. It also has much better peak texture detail and complex splatting. The RX 7900 XTX has slightly better render target array performance and parallax occlusion mapping. In terms of value for money, the RX 7900 XTX is slightly better than the RTX 4090. It is cheaper by $650 and has a lower power consumption by 75W. However, the RTX 4090 has a much higher market share and user rating than the RX 7900 XTX. According to Technical City, the RTX 4090 outperforms the RX 7900 XTX by 24% in their combined benchmark results. They use various synthetic tests such as Passmark, 3DMark, and Unigen to measure the GPU performance. In terms of gaming performance, the RTX 4090 is also superior to the RX 7900 XTX in most cases. It can run games such as Cyberpunk 2077, Red Dead Redemption 2, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and Horizon Zero Dawn at ultra settings and high resolutions with smooth frame rates. The RX 7900 XTX can also run these games well, but it may struggle with ray tracing enabled or at very high resolutions. The RTX 4090 also has some advantages over the RX 7900 XTX in terms of features and technologies. It supports DLSS 3, which is a technique that uses AI to upscale lower resolution images to higher resolution ones with minimal quality loss. This can improve performance and image quality in some games that support it. It also has more advanced ray tracing and tensor cores, which can enhance realism and effects in some games and applications that use them. The RX 7900 XTX is not without its merits, however. It has a higher core clock speed than the RTX 4090, which can give it an edge in some scenarios. It also supports AMD's FidelityFX Super Resolution, FSR, which is a similar technique to DLSS but works on any GPU and game that supports it. It can also benefit from AMD's Smart Access Memory, SAM, which allows the CPU to access the full GPU memory for faster data transfer. To conclude, both cards are very powerful and capable of delivering amazing gaming and computing performance. However, the RTX 4090 has an edge over the RX 7900 XTX in terms of raw speed, features, and popularity. The RX 7900 XTX is cheaper, more power efficient, and slightly better value for money. Depending on your budget, preferences, and needs, you may choose either one of them for your ultimate showdown of power and price. One of the most important factors to consider when choosing a graphics card is the price and availability of the product. In this section, we will compare the AMD RX 7900 XTX and the Nvidia RTX 4090 in terms of their cost, supply, value for money, and target audience. The AMD RX 7900 XTX has a suggested retail price of $999, which is slightly lower than what we expected. This makes it a very competitive option against both the RTX 4090 and the RTX 4080 16GB, as it offers great performance for less money. In fact, it is $600 cheaper than the Nvidia RTX 4090, which is a significant difference for most gamers. However, the actual price of the RX 7900 XTX may vary depending on the demand, supply and market conditions. As of now, the RX 7900 XTX is still hard to find in stock, as it was released on December 13, 2022, and has been very popular among gamers and enthusiasts. The Nvidia RTX 4090 is the most expensive and powerful graphics card in the market right now. It has a starting price of $1,599, which is a lot of money to spend on a single component. However, it also delivers an incredible level of performance, efficiency, and AI-powered features that make it worth the investment for some users. The RTX 4090 was launched on October 12, 2022, and since then it has been very difficult to get one due to high demand and low supply. Many retailers have sold out quickly or have raised their prices significantly above the MSRP. When it comes to value for money and target audience, both cards have their pros and cons. The AMD RX 7900 XTX is a great choice for gamers who want to enjoy high-end gaming at 4K resolution with ray tracing enabled, without breaking the bank. It also has a lower power consumption than the RTX 4090, which means it can fit in most cases and does not require a very powerful PSU. However, the RX 7900 XTX is not as good as the RTX 4090 when it comes to creative workloads, such as video editing, rendering, or graphic design. It also lags behind in ray tracing performance, as NVIDIA's 3rd Gen RT cores are more advanced than AMD's 2nd Gen ray accelerators. The NVIDIA RTX 4090 is a beast of a card that can handle any game or application at ultra settings with ease. It is ideal for gamers who want to experience the best possible graphics quality and performance, as well as for creators who need a lot of power and speed for their projects. It also supports DLSS 3, which is a revolutionary AI-based technology that boosts frame rates without sacrificing image quality. However, the RTX 4090 is very expensive, very power-hungry, and very large. It requires a high-end PC build with a spacious case and a strong PSU to run properly. It may also be overkill for some users who do not need such a high level of performance or features. In conclusion, both the AMD RX 7900 XTX and the NVIDIA RTX 4090 are excellent graphics cards that offer amazing gaming and creative capabilities. However, they also have different price points, availability issues, strengths, and weaknesses that make them suitable for different types of users. Ultimately, the best choice depends on your budget, preferences, and needs.